Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leader in rushing, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. As it is now Friday, December the 19th, one sleep away from Packers, Bears, primetime Saturday night, NFL football, NFC North on the line, playoff implications everywhere throughout the National Football League here going into Week 16. Really exciting time for Packer fans and NFL fans in general, really, as the Seattle Seahawks came from behind last night and defeated the LA Rams to take over the number 1 seed. So what we wanted to do today is dive into the NFC North. What we're going to do is give you a quick glance at the NFC standings. Then we're going to jump into every NFC North game for this week. Okay, just real briefly, kind of show you the point spread, show you how the games look, the quarterback matchups, hop over to the next one, and then we'll go through the playoff simulator and give everybody an idea of what's going to happen this weekend with wins and losses from the Green Bay Packers and everyone else in between. So before we get into that, if you guys would do that YouTube stuff for me, hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your day. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media. We're fans just like you, talking Packers on a daily basis. So if you're looking for that type of daily content, 365 days a year, make sure you click like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you know every time we do go live. Let's waste no time. I know the chat is already on fire. Appreciate everybody jumping in here on short notice. Smash that like button for us. We greatly appreciate it. Let's get into it, man. Let's talk about what's on the line here in terms of the playoff simulator. Again, we will go through the games individually here in a minute. Just look at the standings here, okay? As we look in the AFC, just real quick, the number 1 seed is your Denver Broncos. 2 is the New England Patriots. 3 is the Jacksonville Jaguars. 4 are the Pittsburgh Steelers. 5 are the LA Chargers. 6 is the Buffalo Bills. The 7 seed is the Houston Texans now. And like I said, Denver is rounding out there as the number 1 seed. When we hop over to the NFC with that win last night, you can see the Seahawks defeated the LA Rams at home in the rain. It was a fun game to watch. Obviously took it to overtime. 2 of the best teams, probably the 2 best teams in the NFC. The Seattle Seahawks come out on top with a win there to become the number 1 seed as they stand alone there at the moment. So with that being said, Seattle Seahawks are your number 1 seed. Your Chicago Bears are the number 2 seed. The Philadelphia Eagles are the 3 seed. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the 4 seed. The 5 seed are now the LA Rams at 11-4. Wild to think about there, right? San Francisco 49ers are the 6 seed. And then we get your Green Bay Packers as the number 7 seed as it currently sits right now. Again, we'll go through and mess with this playoff simulator on the back side of the show. Just want to give everybody an update on the standings there as they sit. So let's look at each individual game that involves the NFC North this week. And let's start with our very own Green Bay Packers versus the Chicago Bears. This is an exciting one. I'm really, really fired up to see how this game plays out. Obviously, it's going to be played in Chicago. The forecast, according to PFF's preview, is saying 37 degrees and overcast with clouds. So listen, that's almost perfect football weather, right? It's not one of those 15 degrees, 7-degree games where guys are kind of, you hate the hit in that cold of weather. I'm thinking 37 degrees, the players are probably feeling pretty good about that. So that's the forecast as it sits right now. The Bears come in at 10-4, right? They're 9-4-1 against the spread. The Packers are 9-4-1, and they're 5-8-1 against the spread on the year. So again, you got a 10-4 team against a 9-4-1 team. Currently, the Bears are 1.5-point favorites according to PFF. That's how they've got this one. Again, the Bears are 1.5-point favorites. As a Packer fan, you love to see that. We talk about that 60% mark. 55% of the money is on the Bears minus 1.5. So we dip below that 60% mark. It's going to be a close game, guys. This is going to be really, really close here. As like I said, 55% of the money is on the Chicago Bears minus 1.5. When you look at some of the rankings here, overall rankings, the Packers are 2nd. The Bears are 13th. Defensive ranking, the Packers, according to the power ranking on defense, this is minus Micah Parsons, right? They have the Packers at 13th, the Bears at 10th. That's really interesting from PFF standpoint because the numbers suggest something totally otherwise. They put the Bears somewhere in the 22 to 23 range, right? And the Packers in the top 5. Power ranking on offense, the Packers are 3rd, the Bears are 10th. Strength of schedule played so far, the Packers have played the 12th toughest schedule. and the Bears have played the 22nd toughest schedule, which about on par for what we've talked about all year. When you look at the quarterback matchup, you've got Jordan Love versus Caleb Williams. Jordan Love is grading out at 89.3 according to PFF. Caleb Williams, a 74.6 is his PFF grade. When you look at the power rating, they give Jordan Love a 4.5, Caleb Williams a 2.5. That would rank Jordan Love as the 8th highest power ranking or rating according to PFF, and Caleb Williams 17th as it sits right now. Now, there's injuries across the board. The key injuries, in my opinion, in this game, obviously, it's going to be your first game without Micah Parsons. It's looking like Christian Watson will be good to go. We're still waiting on Zach Tom. Another key injury. I don't know why they don't always list all of the injuries here, but the ones I'm worried about are Zach Tom at right tackle. You've got Evan Williams at safety, and then Josh Jacobs. There's rumors, and I don't know, you guys do your own research. There's rumors that Josh Jacobs is walking around in a knee brace and been limping all week. I don't know if you guys have heard that as well. So there's a good chance you could be without Josh Jacobs, Zach Tom, and Evan Williams in that regard. So that would be huge in terms of injuries. With the Chicago Bears, they have their starting running back, DeAndre Swift, along with Mononga, of course, but DeAndre Swift, a vital part of that offense, 79.2 grade. He's listed as questionable with the groin. And then, of course, it's already been ruled out. Roma Dunze is out. And for whatever reason, they don't even mention our boy Luther Burden, who is out as well. Those are two huge losses for the Chicago Bears. Moral of the story, both of these teams are beat up pretty bad. We'll see how everything kind of unfolds as you get closer to game time. But with Roma Dunze and Luther Burden already being ruled out, that's a tough go for the Bears. Now, their tight ends have played solid. Looks like Cole Kmet will most likely play, and they've been leaning on the tight end position pretty handily there. So going to be really, really interesting, like I said, to see how this game falls into place. Let's move on to the next NFC North team that's going to be playing here this weekend. Keep in mind that Packers-Bears, obviously, on Saturday night. I'm excited about that. We have the Pittsburgh Steelers, Aaron Rodgers, traveling to Detroit to take on the Detroit Lions. As it currently sits, it looks like the Pittsburgh Steelers are 7-point underdogs in this one. So they are saying the Lions are 7-point favorites as it sits right now. 66% of the public money is on the Lions -7. Obviously, this is going to be indoors in Detroit, so no worry about that 23 degrees and scattered clouds there, obviously. So, yeah, when you look at this, looks like the Lions are pretty heavy favorites. I would not rule out Aaron Rodgers in this game. Let's look how the rankings fall into place here. You got the Pittsburgh Steelers ranking 15th overall, the Lions 7th. The power ranking on defense, the Steelers are 19th. The Lions are 20th. I believe last I heard TJ Watt was probably not going to play. We'll try to look at the injury report here in a second. Power ranking on offense, the Lions are 4th best on offense. They have the Steelers at 20th best. And again, this is PFF's ranking system. So, this doesn't necessarily say the scoring rankings match up with this. As a matter of fact, I know they don't pretty handily. Strength of schedule played, they're saying the Lions have played the 2nd toughest schedule this year, and the Steelers have played the 18th toughest schedule. So that's how the rankings match up. When you look at the quarterback matchup, PFF has Aaron Rodgers at a 65.7 and Jared Goff at a 77.3. That's a power rating of 3.5 for Goff, 2.5 for Aaron Rodgers. And, of course, that would rank Goff 10th in the league, Aaron Rodgers 17th. So when you look at this across the board, Lions are 7-point favorites. Goff is playing better football than Aaron Rodgers, according to PFF. The only thing you really got going on your side here is the fact that the 66% of the public money is on the Lions -7, right? Well, when you look at it from that standpoint, again, just because that would suggest that they won't cover that spread, it doesn't mean the Lions aren't going to win. At 7 points is a lot of points, right? So just something to keep an eye on there. Now, when you go to the injury report, there's TJ Watt. He's listed as questionable. He had a partially collapsed lung after a dry needle procedure 2 weeks ago, or a week and a half ago, I guess it was. He was having to be rushed to the hospital. So looks like he probably won't go this week, although you can never rule TJ Watt out. He may be out there on the field. That's one to keep an eye on. In terms of the Lions, they've got a bunch of studs out. Obviously, Laporta over on IR. You got Brian Branch on IR now. Harper and Decker both listed as questionable. Mahogany went on IR, obviously. Cunningham on IR. And then Kirby Joseph is listed as doubtful as it currently sits right now. So again, this is going to be a huge game for both of these teams. As we talked about just a second ago, you've got the Pittsburgh Steelers that are trying to hang on to the AFC North at 8-6, and I believe they've got the Baltimore Ravens right behind them at 7-7. So this is a huge game for them. In terms of the Lions are currently sitting at 8-6. So the 7th seed is the Packers at 9-4-1 right now. So, I know it looks like they're only one game back there, but actually it's 1.5 games because of the tie. So it would take quite a bit it would basically take the Packers losing the next 3 games and the Lions winning out to kind of overtake the Packers in that regard. But again, the Lions sitting at 8-6 there. Got to keep an eye on them. Obviously, we're pulling for the Steelers in this one as a Packers fan, and we'll see how that all unfolds. You can't rule out Aaron Rodgers, man. I'm telling you, I think he's playing pretty good football. I don't think this 65.7 tells the story of how Aaron Rodgers has played this year. I thought he's protected the football well. Him and DK Metcalf continue to get on the same page. They went out there, and who's it they took care of? I believe it was the Dolphins last week, as they won 28-15 over the Dolphins. The week before, they inked one out by 5 points, 27-22 over Baltimore. They got the crap kicked out of them by Buffalo. And then, of course, they lost by 3 points to Chicago. That was without Aaron Rodgers. That was with Mason Rudolph at the helm there. So we'll see. Again, it's not about the Steelers. It's more about the Lions. The Lions are holding on to playoff hopes, and they're going to look to go out there and defeat the Pittsburgh Steelers in that tough game. Moving along to the final NFC North team that's going to be playing this week, and that is the Minnesota Vikings. They come in at 6-8. The Giants are 2-12. This is going to be played in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Forecast says 38 degrees and overcast with clouds there. When you look at the point spread, again, the Minnesota Vikings are 2.5-point favorites going on the road there. 64% of the money is on the Vikings, minus 2.5. I like the Giants' chances of upsetting the Vikings, and you want them to upset the Vikings. I don't think they've been mathematically eliminated yet from the playoffs, but I think a loss here may end up doing that. I had the playoff implications for all the North teams earlier pulled up from Rob Demovsky. Let me see if I can find that real quick, because I'd like to give you guys just kind of a scenario there with the Vikings. I'm interested to know exactly what those are, if we can find it here. Let's see. Rob, where are you at, sir? I know I just seen the tweet. Everybody firing off tweets right now. Holy cow. And I believe we've lost it. All right. Just like I said, wanted to give you guys kind of an idea of what was on the line there. We can figure it out with the playoff simulator here in a second. But looking at the ratings, right, the rankings, if you will, you've got the Minnesota Vikings ranked 16th overall. You've got the Giants ranked 27th overall. We've got defensively, the Vikings defense is 11th. The Giants are 29th. And then on offense, the Giants have the slight advantage, ranking 22nd, while 9 and the Vikings come in at the 27th spot. Strength of schedule played. These teams have played some tough schedules, looks like, man. Giants have played the 3rd toughest schedule. The Vikings have played the 4th toughest schedule as it sits right now. And then, of course, with the quarterback matchup here, you've got the rookie Jackson Dart grade now to 69.1. You get the second-year player J.J. McCarthy at a 63.7. And when you break that down, each quarterback has a power rating of 1.5. That makes them both tied in the 20 spot across the National Football League. So that's how that matchup looks there. Again, the Minnesota Vikings are 2.5-point favorites on the road to the Giants. Now let's switch gears and jump into the playoff simulator real quick, and let's talk about some of the implications these games could have. What we're going to do is just go through and kind of really, really quickly pick these games, who I think will win. And I'm not trying to make a prediction like, hey, guys, put money on it. This is the way it'll fall. This is just very, very briefly. This is how I would see this week playing out. First game we got here is and we'll save the NFC North teams for last, okay? Let's say the Eagles go on the road and they defeat the Washington Commanders. Obviously, the Eagles are sitting at 9-5. The Commanders are currently at 4-10. I think they said it's going to be a soft benching of Jaden Daniels as well. So if Jaden Daniels does not play in this game, obviously that's going to be a big deal, right? So I'm going to go with the Eagles here. Obviously, the Eagles get the win. We'll wait on the Packers-Bears, and that Eagles game is being played on Saturday before the Packers-Bears game. All right, so just keep that in mind. Let's move along. Jets at the Saints. The Jets come in. Let's see how they're ranking here. The Jets are currently 3-11. The Saints are currently 4-10. So this is definitely the toilet bowl this week. So I don't know if either team is going to want to win this game, to be honest with you. It might be one of those like, hey, I got it, you take it type deals. I'd rather get a higher draft pick. We'll see. If I had to pick a team, I'm going to go with the home team and say the Saints win that ball game. Buffalo on the road in Cleveland. I think Buffalo most likely will take care of business there. Then you got the Kansas City Chiefs at Tennessee. Even without Mahomes, you like your chances of Kansas City winning that ball game. Although you never know, man. Again, KC is they've been mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. They're currently sitting at 6-8, but boy, those Tennessee Titans are cheeks at 2-10. You know what? Without Mahomes, we're going to go with the home team and say that the Titans actually get the win there. Not that it matters for Packers' sake. All right, Chargers at the Cowboys. Chargers at the Cowboys. The Chargers are currently the 6th seed in the AFC at 10-4. The Cowboys are on the outside looking in at 6-7-1. It is in Jerry World, right? With the Chargers sitting at 10-4, we're going to say the Chargers go into Dallas and get the dub there. We'll hold off on the Vikings Giants. We'll come back to it. Tampa Bay at Carolina. Is this going to be a sneaky good game, guys? Is this one going to sneak up on us here? Let's look at this, all right? So you've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Carolina Panthers. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are in the lead in the NFC South at 7-7, but the Carolina Panthers are tied or have the same record at 7-7. The tiebreaker just goes to Tampa. This is the battle for the NFC South. That's wild to think about. You look at head-to-head, you look at head coaches versus head coach, you look at quarterback versus quarterback. It's all just kind of meh, as they sit here right now. I'm going to go with the home team and say Carolina wins that ball game. Cincinnati Bengals on the road in Miami. I think the Bengals will take care of business down there in Miami, as that is an absolute dumpster fire currently with Tua Tagovailoa. Sounds like he's going to be benched for the rest of the year. Next, you get the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Denver Broncos. All right, the Jaguars playing pretty good football. The Broncos are arguably the best team in the National Football League. The Jaguars come in at 10-4 on the road in Denver to take on the 12-2 Denver Broncos. I'm going to say the Broncos win that ball game. Atlanta Falcons at the Arizona Cardinals. The Falcons are currently sitting at 5-9. The Arizona Cardinals at 3-11, although it is on the road in Arizona. I'm going to pick the Falcons in this one. Raiders on the road to Houston. I think Houston takes care of business. Will hold Pittsburgh and Detroit for the end. This is going to be a fun one here. New England Patriots at the Baltimore Ravens. I'm going to tell you why this might have a little bit of effect on the Packers. The Packers play the Baltimore Ravens next week, right? And you've got the Patriots going into town to play Baltimore. What if the Patriots win that ball game, right? And they should. I mean, they're 11-3. The Baltimore Ravens have struggled this year. They're sitting at 7-7. If Baltimore lays an egg there and loses to the New England Patriots, do they press in a little more like what Washington's doing with Jaden Daniels? Do they start to sit people knowing, okay, the playoffs are pretty much out of reach? Or do you think they throw the hammer down, throw the pedal to the metal, and try to defeat the Packers next week? That's just going to be an interesting storyline going in. I think the Patriots go into Baltimore and take care of business there. I know they lost to Buffalo last week, but I think they take care of things there. So San Francisco 49ers 10-4 go into Indianapolis to face the Colts. The Colts are currently, they have dropped, haven't they? They're 8-6. They're in third place in the AFC South currently. And you got the San Francisco 49ers, where are they currently at in the NFC West? They're third place in the West, but they're the number 6 seed in the playoffs. As bad as I hate to say it, I'm going to be rooting for the Colts, don't get me wrong, but I think the 49ers probably win that ball game, okay? So if everything unfolds the way we just laid out, let's go through the NFC North teams, and let's work our way backwards, okay? Actually, let's just work our way forward. Green Bay at Chicago. Let's talk worst case scenario, okay? Let's say that the Bears win that ball game, okay? The Bears win that ball game against the Packers. The Packers are still the 7 seed. This is before the rest of the NFC North plays, right? Let's say that the Vikings take care of business on the road in New York. Nothing changes with the playoffs. And now Pittsburgh at Detroit. Let's say Detroit wins that ball game. If everything goes wrong for the Green Bay Packers this week, the Packers lose to the Bears, the Lions beat the Steelers, and the Vikings beat the Giants, the Packers are still the number 7 seed as it currently sits. So the moral of the story is what we talked about all week. If you're banged up, if you're worried about these players like Josh Jacobs, Evan Williams, Zach Tom, and they may be wanting to go, hey, we want to go out there and beat the Bears. I got it. I completely understand. But why risk the rest of the run here when, again, this isn't just a gotta-have-it moment? Would you love to lead the North? Absolutely. I think we could beat the Bears without those players. I'm not going to try to paint a doom and gloom scenario because, again, they're without 2 of their top receivers, right? two of their top 3 receivers. They're banged up as well. I'm going to trust the coaches to scheme together a great game. If Christian Watson does go out there, which it looks like he's going to, he's fully healthy. I think we could just go out there and beat the Bears again. And if that happens, that's great. But again, worst case scenario, the Packers after this week are still going to be no lower than the number 7 seed. So let's say the Packers win this game, right? Now all of a sudden we go from the 7 seed to the number 2 seed in the NFC, right? Let's say that the Pittsburgh Steelers take care of business with the Lions. The Lions are going to drop even further down. Now they're going to be sitting at, I guess it would be 8-6 or 8-7 would be the projection there, right? So they would drop to 8-7. Their playoff hopes are really dwindling. It may actually end their playoff hopes with that game. And of course, it don't really matter what happens with the Vikings, although if the Giants take care of business there, best case scenario, this is what your playoffs would look like. Number 1 seed Seattle, number 2 seed Green Bay Packers, 3 seed Eagles, 4 seed Carolina Panthers, 5 seed 49ers, 6 seed Rams, 7 seed Chicago Bears. That's what the NFC would look like. Again, that's kind of best case scenario. So let's go back to worst case scenario, okay? Bears win, Lions win, Vikings win. Let's fast forward ahead to week 17 before the rest of the games have been played here. We showed this last week, right? Let's say that the Bears take care of business over the 49ers. This is what's beautiful about this. The 49ers are the 5 seed, the Packers are the 7 seed. If the Bears beat the Niners, it beats the Niners down a touch. That might help us in the final week of the season, right? Now, they're going to be sitting at 11 wins if they do win this week. But again, that's kind of these two teams are going to beat each other up a little bit, right? So let's say that the Bears win that game, all right? And let's say that they hold on to the number 2 seed. And then the Packers, let's say the Packers do lose to Baltimore, right? Now you're out of the playoffs before Detroit plays, okay? However, Detroit's playing Minnesota. If Minnesota wins that game, even with 2 losses in a row, the Packers would still be the number 7 seed. So you're kind of up against it starting next week. That's why it's so important to make sure you don't get these guys even more banged up. You get 2 more starters going on IR, going in to the week against the Baltimore Ravens. Now all of a sudden your back's really against the wall and you're even more injured than you were going in, right? However, if the Packers take care of business there, even with worst case scenario, right? Let's say that the Vikings beat the Lions, and let's say the 49ers beat the Bears, you're still going to be holding the number 7 seed. The Bears would still have the advantage over you at the number 2 seed. So really what you're talking about this week when it comes to this matchup against the Bears, how bad do you want the North? Is going after the NFC North, right? Is it worth potentially hampering yourself in the playoffs by marching guys out there that are already hurt and potentially losing them for the playoff run? Is it worth it to risk getting them even more banged up on a short week when they're not 100% healthy just to win the North? And again, there's no guarantees that somebody's out there playing at 85%, right? You would imagine that means that their play is going to dip a little bit too, right? So that's why I'm in the camp of, you know what? If they're not 100%, rest them up, get them ready for Baltimore. We'll have to hear Bears fans all week, but hey, it is what it is, right? Now, if these guys are 100% healthy, obviously you march them out there and you go for the dub. So that's kind of what's on the line here with the Chicago Bears. Hopefully that explains everything. Looking in the chat, how would you guys approach that? I want to know what you guys would do. Packers versus Bears. We know that these guys want to play. You know how these players are, man. I guarantee you, if there's a chance Zach Tom could go out there this week, he's going, hell yeah, put me out there. I'll go. Same thing with Evan Williams, right? Same thing with Josh Jacobs. But if you were in charge knowing they're banged up, how would you approach this? Would you sit them? Or would you say, you know what, let's trust them and let them go out there and play? How would you guys approach it? So Artie Ironminer says the NFC North is goal number 1. So there you go. I think Ironminer's saying, you know what? If they're willing to play, even though they're not 100%, put them out there. Okay? I disagree with that, respectfully, of course, Ironminer. That's kind of how I see it, man. I would rather, hey, look, if you're not good to go, if you're not 100%, hold those guys out and let's reset for Baltimore and get everybody healthy and go into this playoffs. Try to create a two games of momentum going into the playoffs. Because here's the other thing about that. Like, well, here's Sober asked a great question. Can they do more damage? Absolutely they can. I mean, you're talking about guys who were banged up. Like, here was the early reports, right? The early reports, and these are the 3 players I'm talking about. Zach Tom, they're saying he could miss 1 to 3 weeks was the rumor. right? He's got a couple of different injuries he's dealing with. Evan Williams, they're saying 1 to 2 weeks. Jason Wilde earlier today said he gets the feeling that Evan will not play. So obviously there's a chance of further aggravating these injuries if they're saying, hey, 1 to 2 weeks is what they need to kind of get right, you know? So with that being said, then you throw in Josh Jacobs again, who rumor is he's been limping around all week. And I'm hearing rumors that he's on a brace. He's wearing a brace. Has anybody else heard that in the chat? Let me know if you guys hear that, have heard that in the chat. Thank you for the audio issue there. I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you, Andy, for the heads up. It's probably the background music playing. We've been trying to up the production value a little bit, but obviously every time we do, StreamYard screws something up. So yeah, I haven't heard either, RE Iron Miner. You guys, let us know in the comments if you do hear anything on that front, because again, there's a lot on the line this week. Okay, let's see here. I've never seen this name in here. Hey, welcome to the chat. Style Rev, if I'm saying that right. Heard it was a circulation sleeve. All right, that's different, right? A little bit different than just a brace. Yeah, there you go. Doug said it was a circulation device as well. Never, and Daryl says he's never heard of Jacobs wearing a brace. So that sounds like it got misconstrued, right? In terms of a brace and a sleeve. So maybe he'll go. But again, him limping around kind of worries me a little bit. And, you know, back to the original question there, could it make the injury worse if these guys do play? With Josh Jacobs, absolutely. It's the reason it hasn't fully healed up yet. It keeps swelling up on it, right? Because you keep going out there. He took another hit on that knee this last game. So just something to keep an eye on. So there you go, guys. There's your quick NFC North rundown. Packers playoff chances, the whole 9 yards. Let us know in the comments, how do you feel about the Packers' chances of winning the North, making the playoffs? I think we've got right now, as it sits, an 89% chance of making the playoffs. Now, if you lose this week, that's going to dwindle quite a bit. And then if you lose next week, you'll probably be in the 20 percentile or something, right? So a lot on the line really starting next week. But again, you go out there and take care of business against the Chicago Bears. What I would love to see more than anything as a Packer fan is I would love to see the Green Bay Packers sit some of these guys. Sit Tom, sit Williams. We'll see what happens with Jacobs because he's been playing hurt the whole time anyway, right? Sit some of these guys, get them healthy, and you still go out there somehow, some way, even though you're the underdog, you beat the Chicago Bears in Chicago. Now you're in the lead for the NFC North. You rested your guys up. You're healthier than you've been, minus Micah Parsons, of course. And then we roll out there and create some momentum going into the playoffs. But I want to hear from you guys in the comments. Let us know what you think about every scenario that we laid out for you. Also, make sure you hit like, subscribe, click the bell icon so you're notified when we go live in the future. I'm going to keep my ear to the streets here for the rest of the day. If any news breaks, we'll go live immediately and let you guys know if maybe another player has been downgraded, or maybe, sometimes what you get is some of the insiders leak out a little information from players' camps that this guy's listed as questionable, but I'm told he will go. If we get any of that information, we will definitely fire that out to you guys and gals. We'll go live and have a conversation about it. So anytime we do go live, you guys feel free to jump in here in the chat and talk about it. Appreciate everybody. Huge crowd. Thank y'all for making us a part of your afternoon here on such short notice. We'll be back soon. My name's Clayton. This is PTA. Go Pack Go.
There we go. We're out.
Bye, guys.